Hello, everybody, and welcome to our co-creating our conscious leadership rise up. And welcome to the Universal Playground. I'm so excited about what today brings and being able to really dive deep into what conscious leadership is and how we get to step into these roles in leadership and in life. And today I'm going to introduce you to the forgiveness frequency, which is a multi-dimensional, super colorful way that you can tap into your own healing. We are going to light your flame and really ignite your forgiveness frequency today as well. We are going to go through the top 3 things that you have controllables within your leadership and in life. And I'll walk you through the 8-week course that the forgiveness frequency has been put into service to provide to the collective, where we're going to take 4 weeks of going through our leadership trash cans and 4 weeks going through our life trash cans. And so as we get started here today, we're going to go back to where this has really begun for me, and being asked to really called into service to what conscious leadership is. We're going to learn about what conscious leadership is and the differences to really see where we are at. And what's great about the forgiveness frequency is that it meets you where you are currently. So there is no right or wrong. There is no high or low. It is really just you showing up today to learn about what conscious leadership means to you and how you can step into service and start your own journey and or help another on theirs. So this masterclass is going to be, and I thank you for all the participants that are joining us here today. Please let us know in the comments. Jenny, thanks so much for being here all the way from the UK and Wales. And it's about probably 6 p.m. for you right now. And so thank you for being here. I'm on the west coast of America near Seattle, Washington, in a little town called Puyallup. And we're right kind of in the shadow of Mount Rainier, which is one of my favorite energy spots anywhere on this earth. So thank you for this. And all of you who are joining our replays and connecting with this masterclass, they will be posted on all social medias so we can start raising the collective's vibration. And what this rise up truly is restoring intrinsic source energy into the universal playground. It's allowing you to really connect with yourself, to connect with your energy, and to see what an impact you can make as a single multidimensional being here on this earth, and how vital it's going to be for you to step into these conscious leadership roles, not only in business, but anyone who's a leader, any mom, dad, anyone who connects with a community or a religious organization or a teacher, anyone who connects with another living human soul. You are a conscious co-creator and you are part of this rise up. So we're going to teach you how to connect, how to dig, how to understand really where you are at in this now moment. And as you put your comments into any of the social media sites that this masterclass is going to be playing on, I will be there to hold space for you to help answer any questions that you have. So your comments trigger me to bring me in kind of a pop of color to know that a new soul has entered this beautiful energy, and I will be there to assist you throughout it. So I want to tell you how conscious leadership came to me. Conscious leadership, as we transitioned in through the solar eclipse in April, there was this major downloads that were happening for everyone. And I didn't quite know, it was coming through for me in an energy frequency, but there was no words to it. There was no forward direction. I just was gathering all of this energy and kind of banking it to then know that when I'm called into service, more information will come through. And so the 4 or 5 weeks after the solar eclipse, there were so many shifts that were happening universally that we were all finding kind of our footing. Where do we land when it comes to service? And as a multidimensional service and surrender to the divine, I didn't know where this was going to take me. I knew that my last service project I was asked to stop it in February, and that was reading to 140 children in Africa. And we had been at that for over 2 years, that we had been creating these Saturday schools of color for the kids. And so I was called into service to help support this initiative. And when we had the solar eclipse in April, there was so much information coming through. And it took a few weeks for us to really guide that information in, to understand in human words, what is that shift that occurred? I knew that I was told to be at a very specific spot on the west coast of America, right when the eclipse was coming into North America. And it was this kind of gated opening between the tip of Mexico in Baja, California, or Baja, Mexico, Los Cabos, and the latitude was connecting to Easter Island. So this really huge gate opened up, and I was able to travel for the first time in a really long time to take that trip with my husband, to be on the beach with our feet in the water, our eclipse glasses on, to experience the entire eclipse season. And I knew before I went that I was going to be retaining information and energy that's going to propel us forward into the new Earth timelines. I also knew that I was going to be opening that gate between my location and that of Easter Island. And so as that eclipse started to come over, it was just, I had goosebumps. I was just overwhelmed with so much energy. And then to really kind of hold space for the eclipse as it went across the entire North Americas and beyond. So as the information that was flooded in started to really resonate, it took 4 or 5 weeks. And then every time I would go into the Akashic records and I would sit within that every morning, I always ask, how am I to be of service to you in this now moment? And I was given conscious leadership. And I'm just like, what? Whoa, okay, what does this mean? And then over the days and weeks, it really downloaded that and brought that information of integration back up to the surface to show that it is a call, a clarion call to all to really step forward. It's the greatest need of the hour for us to come together and co-create this conscious leadership rise up. And whether you are looking to be a conscious leader, whether you already are, this masterclass meets you where you are at. And if you may find that you have pieces and spaces that you need to work on, that you want to dive a little bit deeper in, but you also might find that you have the skills and abilities and that very divine calling to help another through this process and be part of this rise up. And conscious leadership is in every aspect of life. So whether you're a leader, whether you are a part of a team, whether you are a mother and a father, a grandparent, anyone who helps guide another, teachers, community connections, all of it brings us to stepping into our intrinsic energy and into our source of value and really see how we can clean up our own forgiveness, our frequency, and really help another. So as I was shown what the conscious leadership was, it was in the pyramid of leadership is really kind of held, the leaders on top, and then it runs down. And at the very bottom is usually the people and customers that they serve. This conscious leadership rise up, flips it upside down, where we're now in an inverted pyramid state in leadership. But it also did the same flip where in life, where we put everyone else first before ourselves. Our pyramid for life flipped upside down, where we put ourselves first. So you see these two pyramids are going to really touch each other, and they become a body of light and a vehicle of light for us to be able to continue to move about these new timelines that are coming on. So today's masterclass, we are going to go through what conscious leadership is, we're going to find out where we are and what roles we're going to play. We're also going to find out how to tap into your own forgiveness frequency. And forgiveness frequency is a multi-dimensional frequency that is within us all. And all we have to do is tap in. And it helps us really propel us through this conscious leadership rise up in leadership and in our own life, and gives us our own frequency of healing that's going to, we'll dive deeper, a little bit deeper into. We're going to learn about the top 3 things that we can control. And I've added 2 bonus ones, so that'll be fun too. And then we are going to ignite your forgiveness frequency. We're going to bring you into center so you can really experience what this frequency is and how it can benefit you and your family going forward. We are also going to really learn about all the aspects of how we can dig in our own trash cans in leadership and in life, and learn some of the tricks and tips to upcycling what our traumas, our insecurities, the shame and blame, using the forgiveness frequency that is fueled by self-love, self-acceptance, and gratitude and self-forgiveness. So this is going to be really fun. I sat through a few, and we're also going to change the concept of masterclass in a little bit, because I don't know about you, because I've sat through a few masterclasses and I'm strung along the entire time, and they're gonna give me those 3 things, and then I get to the very end and I'm being sold on something before I even learn anything. And I want to change that frequency. I want to change that vibration. That there is an 8-week course that we are going to offer that is 4 weeks in leadership and 4 weeks in life. But we are going to have so much information and knowledge before we even get to that point for you to make that decision if you would like to continue with that. So I just want to put that out there, and I just want to thank everyone who's watching this masterclass on all social media sites as it gets released. Know that when you set yourself into the frequency and you use the comment section, it's a pop of color for me to hold space for you, to be here to answer any questions that you have as we really go through this. So I'm going to, it looks like, okay, there we go. I'm going to just share my screen a little bit here, and we're going to go through just kind of the basics of the conscious leadership. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat box. And let's get started. I'm really excited. As I was getting ready for this, I have to really settle into my neck brace. And I was told to walk outside. It was kind of like everything that I did was bigger today. When I lit the candle for the space to add the purification, the flames were just like so big, and I was a little worried about it. And then I lit some sage and walked through the space of this healing center, and the sage was just kind of going off everywhere. And so I went outside to distinguish the sage and let it kind of burn in open air, and the entire sky lit up. And it was these beautiful feathery clouds, and there was a rainbow halo around the sun. And there was all these auspicious clouds that I love. Auspicious clouds because they're those clouds that make you question your vision. Is my vision blurry? Because they're kind of blurry, but when you look into them, you usually see faces or animals there. You can just sense that there's someone else here with you. And so the entire sky was filled with these, dragon wings, angel wings. We had all these auspicious clouds. We had the rainbow around the halo around the sun. And it just told me that we are here. We're supported. We have our entire team here to help us. And this is where we need to be. And this is the energy that we need to be sitting in. So I was really just kind of floating as I came into our healing center to launch this masterclass today. So conscious leadership, we flip that pyramid completely upside down, and we have a rainbow halo here. So we are really in this cosmic shift of energy, this cosmic shift of leadership and consciousness, and how this was going to affect every aspect of your life in good ways, all good ways. So the cosmic shift is taking that leadership pyramid and flipping it invertedly, but it's also, like we spoke about, it's taking the life pyramid where you put everyone else first before yourself. It's putting you on top of that. And when these two connect, it lights up this vehicle that we get to use, this Merkaba that we will use to transition through the next stages of this evolution and this ascension process. And it's all about going within. This is about no one else but you. And the work that needs to be done, it's you got to do the work, ready or not. We don't get to go back from this. We can only move forward. So leaders are being asked to step into these conscious roles, to do the work, to take off the mask, to really lead with love, lead with respect, to have a vision of we versus me. There's so much that we're going to be transitioning through the conscious leadership rise up in this shift, but it's really truly about coming back into you. It's going within, finding that center where anything and everything is possible. And it's using universal energy that's all around you to really make your dreams come true. And it's also healing past, present, and future of all the work you do within the conscious leadership rise up. You are healing that for all of your lineage lines, past, present, and future. And it's so special of what is to come from what I've been shown. So the forgiveness frequency is an infinity loop of just pure energy. It is fueled by self-love, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, and gratitude. And then as you build upon this energy and you upcycle all of your traumas and dramas and insecurities and the shame and blame that we carry, this frequency gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And we are all intrinsic energy. We are all infinite energy. So we run in this infinity loop. Right now, that infinity loop is within a body. It's in a physical body. But as you extend past this body, that energy never leaves. It never changes. It just can either expand or contract. So as we learn how to upcycle our trash cans of life, we utilize the forgiveness frequency. And this is what is the frequency is being called into service right now to expand heart-centered leaders into conscious co-creators. So the forgiveness frequency is that multidimensional healing frequency that's fueled by self-love, self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, and gratitude. It assists ones in upcycling life's trash can of traumas and insecurities using color, healing inside, outside, upside, and downside with all of the bodies and beings of light. The forgiveness frequencies offers an infinity loop of possibilities in holistic healing and of childhood trauma, inner childhood clearings, self-forgiveness, and upcycling the shame and blame associated with self-sabotage and the unworthiness through boomeranging gratitude, all while putting your rainbow on repeat. So within the frequency, we also have color. Color holds a vibration and frequency. We also have music, nature, breath work. There are so many, we get to build and add whatever we want. It's our own recipe that expands our frequency. So when you think about this frequency and that we all are this infinity loop of infinite power of love and light, that throughout our lifetimes, our life, present life, and our lifetimes, our infinity loop can get distorted. Every time that we have a trauma or insecurity or something major happens to us, holes and shreds start to peel away from our frequency walls. And when that happens, we start to lose. We can lose and pour out parts of our soul blueprint, who we are meant to be here on this earth. What are we have come here to do? When those holes and tears open in our frequency from childhood trauma, life trauma, gestational trauma, what we've brought in from past lifetimes and our ancestors, when those walls start to thin and start to tear, those holes open for us to lose our soul blueprint, but it also opens us up for outside in forces and influences to come in. So as we work through the forgiveness frequency, again, we meet you where you're at. We first ignite your frequency where you're asking the universe to guide and protect you. You are seeking guidance and calling in your highest self to join the party and to help you to fill in these holes, to upcycle these traumas. And every time you fill your frequency with gratitude, every time you raise your level of vibration and frequency, you are building strength within your infinity loop, within your forgiveness frequency, and you're filling in those tears and holes. So every time you do the work, you completely change your blueprint. You call back in your energy to yourself. You remove all energy that's not yours. And I'll teach you how to do those things today. So as you can see, we have these holes and tears, and it can get kind of dark in there. There isn't a ton of color. But every time we add gratitude, self-love, self-acceptance, we do affirmations, we spend time in nature, we meditate, we sit in mindfulness, we listen to music, we dance, we are creative, we start to utilize our creative frequencies, whatever that is for you. Maybe it's you haven't sung for a long time. Singing and sound chambers are amazing ways to build your frequency. And so we start to fill in those holes and tears, and we strengthen the frequency to a point where it is impenetrable. Nothing is getting in from the outside that's not of your highest good and highest frequency. And you learning how to lose less energy. So you're keeping it to your, within you, and how to flow it out in the best ways possible. And that's what the forgiveness frequency is going to help us do. So this is this is a beginning frequency. And this is as your frequency strengthens. As you find moments within your day to stay above the line, to stay within your center, with breath work, with gratitude, with mirror work, muscle movement or dancing or music or colors, all those things that we've talked about, and different ways that you raise your vibration, what you eat, what you say, things that you say to yourself, as that starts to shift into more positive affirmations and speaking kindly to ourselves. As you change your subconscious mind, and as you rise up, you're restoring your intrinsic source energy, your universal playground will look like this. All of the edges are filled in. It's full of color, and you are expanded now that you are protected on every single level, every energy center, your energy fields. And the more you find moments to sit within the center, sit within that 0 point of your heart space, you build your frequency. And this is a frequency that you can bring others in to your 8 feet and show them and wrap them in a hug. And for me, hugs are healing, universally guided. And so as we step into a hug, as we have today, you are within my forgiveness frequency. You're within the universal energy that is being poured in through that center point of sitting within the heart, of going within. And this is what I want to see. And the more that we can have everyone turn on their forgiveness frequency, find their center through the things that bring them joy and love, as they grow their frequency, we grow as a universe. It grows within the universal playground. It grows within the collective. And this is the image of the closest that I can get to show you what it looks like when you are fully present within your full energy center. You have the universal energy around you. Anything is possible. So as we move forward and look at the conscious leadership, you can see when we talk about all the holes and the tears, this is kind of where we're at. We, within the conscious leadership, our forgiveness frequency is not touching base with everything. We have a lot of tears, we have a lot of holes, but through self-awareness, through expanded learning and being curious about it, and through knowing what our impact is when we build our frequency within the conscious leadership. And you can see how something one side was leadership and one side was life, everything flows in together. If you're struggling at work, you're going to bring it home, and you probably are struggling at life. If you are struggling within your home, it's going to pour over into what you have going on in your outside, in your communities, and anywhere else you bring your energy. So we want to kind of connect the dots. We want to strengthen, and we want to upcycle anything that's within the conscious leadership's infinity loop, and really start to get it back to looking like this. Like, how cool would that be if every leader had their center point, their frequency was this strong when they would step into their leadership roles? They are dynamite, and they can add such an impact to everything that they do because they have already found their center. So conscious leadership is leaders have the vision that others can share and embrace as their own. And this is where that vision serves a purpose that's higher than themselves. And it is conscious leaders are here to make a difference in the world. And conscious leaders, the traits of them are humble. They're self-aware. They take full, radical responsibility for their emotions, their feelings, their actions, and their beliefs, and how they show up in the world. There's no more mask. And for conscious leaders, as all leaders are having to transition to it, some will decide to bow out. That's just too much. They're not going to want to take their mask off. They've been at this for too long. They don't feel like they can change. And that's okay. We want that shift to happen. So others, like many of you who are here in this masterclass, are going to be ready when that time comes. And I'm given 6 months to 2 years. Like, this is fast tracked, where you're going to start to see conscious leadership everywhere. And as I did a pillow dive after I got this information from source, and where my service is going to be added, I did kind of a temperature check within the collective. Where are we with conscious leadership? And I found that it started to come to fruition in 2014 with a book called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leaders. And then there was also one that was even before that really kind of got us thinking, and that was the Conversations with God. And those are 2 books in series of books that really started bringing conscious leadership into the collective. But it has only trickled out. And it's been in the last 2 years that you've started to see companies leaning into conscious leadership. And the leaders that I work with, those that have come to me, we started with our leadership. We started within our trash cans of life. And then when we're like, okay, whoa, like I said, there's a bridge between the two. What's happening in life is happening in leadership, and vice versa. So then we started digging into their trash cans of leadership, and it really spending time walking through those pain points, upcycling what needs to upcycle, and bridging the gap between the two, their frequency. So our conscious leaders are emotionally intelligent. They are authentic in all that they do and say. They're servant leaders. they're transparent, they're curious to learn, and they show up with empathy, and they're great listeners. How many of you have come across a good listener and a bad listener? Conscious leaders are going to take themselves out of the equation about the all about me. It's about we. And to get to we, you have to listen to everyone. And you got to be open and responsive to any idea, good, bad, or indifferent, allowing voices to be heard and their employees to be seen and felt. And these conscious leaders, you have, since this started, I've already started to see the corporate world have a huge shakeup. Financial systems, banking systems, the stock market, top leaders are leaving. They've been in their roles for 20, 30 years. And this is happening across the world. This will happen in government. This is an entire shakeup that's happening. If they're not willing to do the work, if they're not willing to step into and learn and adapt to conscious leadership and do the work inside and out, that they will be stepping away from their roles. And those companies, if there isn't a conscious leader ready to step into the realm, those businesses will suffer. So those who are really looking in the future, what I'm shown is that it is heart-centered, service-led. It is about the products, the people we serve, and the employees that we serve. When we all work together towards that common good, the customer ultimately is happy and fulfilled. If we don't, and we have any type of kink or hole or tear within within our culture and the foundations of those companies will suffer until they're willing to take this forward. So are you ready to expand your heart-centered leadership and consciously co-create with the universe to manifest your career and life you've always dreamed of? Well, you are in the right place. So I am Julie Schindler. I am a retired leader in the fashion industry. I was a manager and a store manager, leading over 350 employees, responsible for $64 million annually. And I worked for a Fortune 500 company for all of my career. I started when I was 19 years old, and I was really just kind of fast-tracked through the company. I became a department manager by 23. By 25, I was a mom of 2 kids, stepping into a buying role. By 28, I was given the keys to my very first store, and I was the youngest store manager that the company had placed into that role. And the success that I had in my career came from the 3 things that we're going to learn today. I have stepped into being a professional speaker. I'm a horizontal holistic healer, an intuitive Akashic Reiki master. I just love the Akashic records. I'm a storyteller to children, and I'm a universal co-creator. But before all of that, you wonder why I'm sitting here in a neck brace. I was in my role, in my favorite job, leading people, connecting with customers. It was like my dream job, and I loved it. About 8 years in, there were certain things that were happening in my life that were looping recycled trauma through my family. And I was struggling. And I really was struggling to find passion in the work that I did. I was struggling to find joy in my life. I was obese. I was very overweight, kind of hiding behind the fashion. And, you can dress up and put heels on and colors and jewelry, and you can kind of leave all of that trash behind. And I really came to a point where I needed to find joy. I had never sat on a yoga mat. I had no self-love practices. I had no mindfulness. I'd never meditated before. And I was just a mom. And I was a mom and a leader. And a wife. That was really it. So I left that corporate job and leadership and in search of joy. And I traveled the world with my family that year. And I finally came back down to reality. I was like, okay, well, I'm only 35. Or 36. I really got to get a job. What is my next career going to be? And so I really kind of pillow purposed it. I really researched where I wanted to be, and I needed to stay in home base of Washington for my children. And that wasn't an option in my last job. I needed to be willing to move anywhere and everywhere the company wanted me to go. And I had turned down those jobs because I knew I needed to stay in a home base. So my third day on the job in a new career, I decided to go into the international coffee business. I was going to be traveling the world. I loved coffee. My favorite coffee is black coffee. And so I took the job. Third day in, a box fell on my head and it crushed my cervical spine. And it was kind of like the universe saying, ha, 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 you had plans. That's not going to happen. And this box, after reconstructive surgery and a lot of physical therapy, I was left living horizontally on a pillow. And I have permanent holes and tears in my spinal column that pour out and drain every single day. So it's a CFS spinal leak. So my spinal fluids are constantly with me inside and out. And so every morning before I can get my voice back, before I can drink any water, before I can have any physical movement, my entire spinal cord has to drain out through all of my lymph nodes, my glands, my eyes, my ears. It comes out through my body fluids. But it has been this process for 12 years now. And so the first 6 years were super, super dark. And it wasn't until the last couple of years where I would start to receive these pops of color. I was on palliative care, end of life care. There was no succession plan off of it for me. I was just trying to save my family pain of my passing. And I started to write my eulogy. And it was within my eulogy that I received this massive blue pop of color. And it showed me that everything that I was writing was all gratitude. My entire eulogy was gratitude to anyone, everyone that had come into my circle over the years, and it had been a part of my growth in my life. But I was really planning that to be it. And this pop of color said, tell them now. Don't wait for someone to read this at your funeral. And then that pop of color and reading back through this gratitude, this list of gratitude. And how do I tell them now? I wasn't on social media. I was kind of, cocooned in my home life on massive pain meds, really just kind of getting through one day, taking life one day at a time. So I prepped that eulogy and kind of turned it into this gratitude, this thank you note to all those who helped me. I signed up for social media again, and I kind of put it out there into the world as a starting point for me. And it was in that moment that I realized that these pops of color were otherworldly, that I had an entire team of guides that were surrounding me, that were helping me through this process. I had met them briefly, but I had chalked it up to when my father-in-law passed away. He never passed away from me. When he left, he would still speak with me. And I thought that it was because I was close to the veil. I was the next one to go, is why I was having these conversations. But I would soon find out, as I started to follow these pops of color, that I had an entire team of guides with me. I had the Divine Father, Mother, and God here. And I had denounced God at 17 as a young teenager and walked away from all religion because my trash can of traumas and insecurities from my childhood was massive. So as I took those shifts, let's see if we can. So as I feel a weird being in that little bubble down there. So as I took those shifts and pops of color, I really that's what started this journey of forgiveness. And it was in 2020, right as the world was shutting down. I sat in my neck brace in my wheelchair in a doctor's office at 260 pounds. I was just uncomfortable in my own skin. I was still on palliative care, but I felt like there had to be a way out. We had finalized my injury that had taken 8 years of fighting that we finally received full pension for it. And we were turning our care over to our care team of doctors. We had been under the umbrella of labor and industries, workers' compensation and workers' injury umbrella for that first 8 years. And as I sat there going through all the tests that would need to be done, getting all the new prescriptions and everything signed over, I just had this feeling inside and this voice that was telling me this time will be different. And that voice was crushed a little bit when the doctor told me that I was losing because I was losing my ability to chew and swallow. My body was deteriorating quicker than expected with even with the palliative care that we were on, and that I might need a feeding tube. And so I was set up for a feeding tube specialist, a speech specialist, plus all of the scans and all of the updated treatment work that would need to get done to put me back onto a pain management program. And I just kind of said no. Like, my biggest fear was coming true outside of death, that I was going to lose my ability to speak and my ability to chew and swallow. And so I just said no. And I started just following my guides and this voice inside. And it walked me through how to drink in the rainbow, put all my sips through a straw. And I drink 80% of my meals through a straw, even to this day. But it was bringing in the color of nature and the color of the rainbow, blending up anything and everything I could get my hands on. And through that, when you nourish on the inside, you were able to really start to eliminate all of that was cluttering up my life. And that was within opiates and the palliative care program. So to make a long story short, the last 4 years of forgiveness has really shown me how to heal from the inside out using the forgiveness frequency, meeting my inner child, upcycling my world, and filling in all of those tears and holes and gaps by upcycling all the traumas and insecurities that I hold in my trash can, and really learning how to dig in my can. And that's what's brought me here today, is to utilize the work that we're doing in forgiveness for myself and for all of those that I serve. And we have so many forgiveness frequencies lit up around the world, not only for women and men, but for children, teaching children how to color their emotions, to color chronic pain, helping children with cancer, how to speak up in color and get their voice back. So we have my mission in life is to ignite everyone's forgiveness frequency, for them to show them how to do the work, how to dig in their own trash cans. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what has happened to you in your life, there is a way to heal inside, outside, and upside and down, just by tapping into the frequency. And that's what we're going to continue to go through today. So gratitude started in 2020 when the world was really shutting down, and we had Black Lives Matter, we had isolation from home, we were losing our families. There was just all this uproar that was happening within our world. And I just sat on my pillow, and I would do these pillow talks where I would just kind of get it all out. I would allow source to guide what I needed to say, and I would talk about whatever that is. And gratitude, where GET, gratitude elevates truth, where these gets started to come from was when, we kept saying do better, be better, all these things. And I just felt like, how do we do all of that? We have to get there first. We have to have gratitude over attitude. We've got to understand each other and come to empathy and love. It was just all of these gets. We have to get there first. And how do we get there? We get there through going within. And we know that how someone responds says more about them than it does about us. Well, how do we respond to the world? Like, how are we taking our own inventory? And it was just this powerful moment where we got to do the work. And Gratitude is a high frequency. Love holds a high frequency and vibration, but so does being authentic. Authenticity has one of the highest frequencies and vibrations out there. So when we do the work and go within, we are able to really build our own forgiveness frequency a lot quicker when we tap into gratitude. So the controllables for conscious leadership are people, product, environment. And I've added self because we're doing leadership in life. There's also one more that I'm gonna show you. Today we're gonna learn how to. Today we're gonna learn how to bring balance to the chaos, giving you back time in your day to be present. How to schedule out time to dig in the areas and opportunities to expand your awareness. How to keep you focused on what the most important aspects of your business needs are, and teach you how to tap into the universal energies all around you for guidance. When we upcycle our leadership trash can and leadership in life, this will also walk us through what that 8-week program is going to look like. So, how do you measure leadership? How do we measure leadership? You might want a piece of paper and a pen for this next part. So in the 15 commitments of the conscious leadership, the book, the concept is, are you above the line or are you below the line? So this is kind of our line of conscious leadership. Conscious leaders are open, curious, and committed to learning. Unconscious leaders are committed to being right, defensive, and closed off. And what is so important to understand is that we have been programmed throughout our lives, and especially in business, to have that fight or flight response, to be motivated by fear. And when we have that core values built into us, it's really difficult. It has been difficult in the past to transition those. But in conscious leadership, we're just asking is to take inventory, to take a self-assessment. How did I respond in this situation? Was that above the line or below the line? And every time we make one of those decisions, we are moving ourselves and transitioning ourselves to a higher frequency. Was I defensive when one of my employees asked me for something or challenged my leadership or question or a situation? How did I respond to that? Was it above the line or below the line? So in the 15 commitments, there are 15 radical commitments that you commit to when you go through the book. It's taking radical responsibility for ourselves, feeling all of our feelings inside and out, eliminating gossip, for ourselves and for others. If you have ever worked in an environment where someone's talking behind someone else's back, or even a friend sharing with you some gossip about someone else, this is really knowing that that gossip is lowering your frequency below the line. How do we eliminate that for everyone? Generating appreciation, living a life of play and rest. That's really important. Sourcing approval, sourcing approval, control, and security. Experiencing the world as an ally, being the resolution. Learning through curiosity, speaking candidly, practicing integrity, excelling in your zone of genius, exploring the opposite, having enough of everything, and creating a win for all solutions. So when you look at and take that assessment in conscious leadership, in the 15 commitments, they use this as a way to measure. Am I above the line or below the line? And what do I need to do to stay above the line? And then what does life look like when we are in one of those two areas? And so within the 15 commitments, I loved this concept of visualization to really show you what's above the line, a lot of color, and what's below the line, really kind of what our subconscious mind looks like when we haven't really tapped into the universal energies, what our forgiveness frequency looks like in the beginning, void of color. And so when you are above the line, you're curious, you listen, you deeply listen, you speak with wanting to know. You have so much curiosity and learning. You unarguably question all the beliefs within your life, in leadership and in life. You want to have fun because you realize that things don't have to be so serious. And when you are below the line, it's all about winning. It's about approval. It's about being right, being in charge, the control of it all. And that is really what we were programmed and have been programmed. This is flipping the switch. This is turning the pyramid upside down. This is cleaning and clearing out our subconscious mind. It's removing all energy and belief systems that are not ours, that do not serve our highest good and are not taking us forward. And this really just kind of shows you that monkey brain, that subconscious that reacts without thought. And how much of our day is spent in that subconscious mind, just kind of moving through the motions. Our conscious leadership asks us to be present in every moment. And the more we do that, one step at a time, one day at a time, we expand our frequency. We expand our bandwidth. We expand into color. We expand above the line, and we move higher and higher and higher throughout it. So you're at the lower part when you're in your inverted pyramid as a leader. And the more that you adapt, the more that you do the work, you are moving up, and your energy is influencing and affecting everyone who's in that pyramid with you. And it's so vital and so important. And to make it fun, like, how do we make what we do every single day fun with our kids, with our communities, and with business? So as we look about the above the line and below the line, this is just such a helpful thing for me. It's trust, trash can triggers to teach. So anytime we fall out of center, anytime we respond in a negative way, or we find ourselves in negative thought process, or speaking badly about ourselves, that that subconscious mind can be really horrible to us when it's wanting to control us. So really looking at how did you respond in every situation. And at the end of the day, maybe it's on your drive home, you really look at all the moments you were above the line and celebrate those moments. And you take inventory of all the moments that you fell below the line. And so you trust in those moments to teach you, why did that occur? Why did I get triggered by this? Why, for me, it's pops of color. Why did that pop of color, a burgundy red, come in? Well, burgundy red is a tougher color in our trash can. So why was I affected by that conversation, or by that person, or that energy? And it's okay. It's self-acceptance. It's self-forgiveness for that moment of lapse that you had, but it's also doing the work. So do I need to dig a little bit more deeply into that experience, that emotion that I felt? And I'm going to take that into my center and into that scheduled time that I've set aside for myself to dig in my own trash can, that I'm going to teach you how. And to know that you don't have to overwhelm yourself. You're just taking inventory of how many times you're above the line, what triggered you below the line, and trusting in your helpful hand of trusting the trash can triggers to teach. So the three things that you can control in life and leadership are the people you surround yourself with, the products and services that you put out into the world, and the environment you create. And that is in leadership and in life. So with leadership, how do I control the people that I surround myself with? Well, are you part of the hiring process? Did the person that you're hiring hold the same values of you and what you're trying to accomplish and culture that you're trying to build? Are they conscious in what they do? How you have touch points with your hiring process? No matter what level of leadership you're at, do you have touch points within the hiring process? It may just be one question that you get to ask the applicant. Maybe you trust in those who are doing the hiring process, and you set your expectations of what you're looking for. But there is a touch point in their hiring experience that they get to be front and center with you. So you can set the culture, you can set your expectations, you can invite them in to really, this is an open door community and work, and I want your opinion is valued. And with that, I expect you to serve the customer in the highest abilities that you have. And here's the tools that you have to do it, whatever that is. So making sure that it's the people you surround yourself with on every level. It's the people you surround yourself with at work and outside of work. It's the people you surround yourself with that you believe that their success is your success. And that is how you really have full control. If someone is not working in the job, and they're not meeting the expectations of the culture and foundation, then there are very specific steps within forgiveness that you can take to schedule out those tougher conversations to have, where you're in a universal mental connected mindset that you can listen, you can respond, and you can actively move them forward, up or out. When it comes to the products and services that you put forth in the world, let's say you are a manager and you work for a company and you sell their product, well, and it's not going well. The product, there's something wrong with it. How do you affect that? You're like, I really don't feel like I have effect to it, but you actually do. So first and foremost is, if you're not able to sell the product effectively, do you need more product knowledge? Is there someone you can go to that you can expand your knowledge on it? Maybe it's the inventor of it. They have so much passion and excitement in the product that they created. Maybe touching base with them is going to ignite that same passion within you. And you might learn something about the product that you haven't learned before. Go to a top seller of the product, someone else in your industry that is doing it better than you, and ask them. Be very curious in your questions. Why is this project so successful for you? And you may find out that the product sells itself, and it's because of the knowledge of it that's out there. Maybe it's because their people buy onto it. So the people, the controlling aspect of that, how you can control that aspect of the business, and how do the people sell it? And maybe it's also the customer. So if you have a product that's always constantly being returned, you have scheduled days within your scheduled moments within your schedule, and days where you can dig deep into your trash can. If you have a product that's constantly being returned, or there's a defect to it, you can have conversations with the merchant team. You can ask more questions. You can call customers and say, hey, I see that you returned this product. I'm so curious. Could you share with me why it didn't work for you? And then you're going to find out they over-purchased themselves. They overextended themselves. What is the defect in it? What they don't like about it? Or maybe they weren't sold it properly. And that can go back to people, product knowledge, or just the environment. So you find out so much information when you're curious, when you really look into, how can I dig in my own trash can and really understand the people and the products and the service that we provide. If you provide a service and it's not going well and you're not getting clients coming in, well, I would really tap into your universal energy and ask those questions, not only of your highest self, but also feedback from your customers that you've had, or ask the communities that within you're in. Is it a price point? Is it a vibration or frequency? We're just off. Maybe we are not listing the products correctly. Maybe we need to dig a little bit more into the marketing aspect of it. How do we How do we look at the pain points that most people don't want to look at when they're looking at their business to determine how can this business even be more successful, and accept the responsibility for what we may not have even known. And that's okay. That's where acceptance comes in. That's where self-forgiveness comes in. You don't know what you don't know, but now you're open and curious to learn. And it's not one way or the highway, that you have a ton of pathways that you could take to really build your products and services to meet your customers' needs at that time. And you may be more advanced in if you have a spiritual business or healing business, the collective may not quite be ready for you in this now moment, but how do we transition and cater to fit those needs now, and so we can fully expand in the future? How do we trickle it in to those areas that you and those customers that you want to service, and start small so we can be ready when we have this full expansion of collective consciousness that's really coming online? And then the environment that you create. How do you show up? What is your energy level? And that's in leadership and in life. If you had a tough day at work, do you leave it in the car before you come home, or do you bring it home with you? So that transitional time between business and life, there are superfied moments that we can really make a huge difference within our infinity loop and our frequency and adjustments that can be made. But what environment do you create? Is it fun? Is it playful? Are you encouraging? Are you giving out gratitude? Are there days that you just get to be silly and you make everyone dance? Do you have appreciation moments and touch points within your environment? And then if your environment is stale, well, ask your customers, ask your employees, be curious and open and listen to the feedback of how do you expand your environment. And we go into all of these three things, even in more expansion than what we did now, of how you truly do affect the people you surround yourself with, the products and services that you put out, and the environment you create. And the last two are your self-assessment. What are you doing with your own energy levels? The people you surround yourself with, the products and services that you put out, your energy, and the environment you create. So self is really a controllable that you can control. So when we start our forgiveness frequency, it really is all about building our trash can, because we all have a trash can of traumas and insecurities, whether that's in leadership, in life, mommyhood, childhood traumas. I had one for everything. So my childhood trauma, my trash can, I lived with inside my trash can for years. Of anything that ever happened to me, if I didn't know how to heal it, it went into my trash can. And from 3, starting with a divorce in the family, to 17, and I had a teen pregnancy and loss, everything that was inside that, I had sexual abuse and traumas, bullying, suicide, all of that was within that trash can. I didn't know how to heal it. So at 17, my 17-year-old had this epiphany with the Northern Lights in Alaska, where we made a pact with ourselves that we're going to close off that trash can because we didn't know how to heal it, and everything in it wasn't our fault. And we would come back when we were stronger. So we tucked that trash can aside, and we moved into our leadership trash can. Our leadership, we came back from Alaska, and we really finished high school and did DECA and merchandising and jumped into the fashion industry. So that trash can, right, when we disassociated from everything that's ever happened to us in that old trash can, this new one, oh my goodness, we built it with color and cars and cash and mommyhood and just living the dream life, completely disassociated from anything and everything that's ever happened to me. So when we started on this journey of having time on our pillow to really dig in our trash can. We dumped our trash cans out. And this is good, bad, and different. This is anything and everything that's ever happened to us. Dumped it out around our pillow and started really going through it. We invited our inner child to bring her trash can to the party and dump it out. And what we found is when we dumped it out, hers was pretty banged up on the outside. But my inner child on the inside, it was poetry and colors and art and music. She had wrote books and songs and all these things that occupied her space and where she would feel safe within her trash can. So on the inside of the trash can, I learned so much about my inner child. And then the rest of the trash cans were really full of the insecurities of work, mommyhood, all the stuff that I didn't know how to deal with or didn't want to deal with went inside the trash can. And the outside was masked with beauty. So the first part we focus on in the forgiveness frequency is building your trash can. And the most important part of building your trash can is talking it out. So talking out the trash. So this is where you tell your story. How many of you have told your completely life story to another recently or ever? I know that talk therapy was super helpful for me. It gave me the I ams, but I didn't know how to deal with the I ams once I learned all the things that I was. I struggled. Then I would just carry around this trash can of I ams. I am all these things that happened to me, but how do I heal from them? How do I upcycle them? How do I transmute them to move on from them? That is what digging in your trash can looks like. And in leadership is going to be different than life. What is your leadership story? What has your journey been like so far, beginning from the very first job you have until now? Within that, what are your pain points? What's happened to you as a leader, good, bad, and indifferent? What were the celebration moments of your leadership journey so far? What was your favorite job? What's your dream job? Like talking it out, getting it out of your physical body, it makes such a huge difference and lightens the load to have everything verbally voiced. And on the life trash can, it's telling your story to another without judgment, whether that's you're journaling it out for yourself, you're voicing it out through voice notes. That's how I was able to do it. Or you have a trusted confidant that you could feel comfortable to tell the story and that you know that they're holding space for you that isn't about them. They know that this is your time. They allow you to get it all out. That's really, truly where we start. With a leader, I have them go through and tell me their entire story. I also have them go through and we're filling up the trash can that we didn't know we necessarily had. And we put in all of the pain points, but then we pull out and we look at all of the celebration moments, all the promotions, all the cool places that we went or the cool people that we met along the way, our favorite moments, our worst moments, it all goes in there. And then we really, truly know where we have a place to start. And then we do the same thing for life. And we tell the entire life story. And so once the stories are told, we've built our trash can. And when you build your trash can, it could be physically, if you're that creative and you like to see it, or it could be visually, like a vision board, or it could just be imagination. So this is what do I connect with? What would be on the outside of my trash can? What colors would be there? What art graphics would be there? What would kind of be the theme? And then what do we think is on the inside? If we, in those years and moments that we lived in the inside of our trash can to get away from the world, moments of numbing through addiction or other ways, what do the inside of those trash cans look like too? So really visualize for yourself, journal it out to build your trash can. inside and out. And then we move on to talking out the trash. So in the self-reflection of the inventory, do you have a work-life balance? Do you love your job? What do you love about your job? What would you like to change about your job? Where do you want to be in 5, 10 years? Is this your dream job? How much do you want to be making? You rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, on 10 being the best, is where am I at now? Because we meet you where you're at in the controllables about people I surround myself with, the products and services that I put out, and the environment that I create. Am I above the line or am I below the line? And then one huge question, and one of the fifth thing that you can control is, have you taken all of your PTO from last year or from this year? Or do you have it scheduled to do so? So your vacation time, your paid time off, your sick days, have you taken those days? Whether that's to go away on vacation with your families, that is just a self-help day. How many vacation days were middle of the year? We're kind of at that great pinpoint time of June, that center point. Where are you at when taking your PTO days? And do you feel that you can take them? Can you take your time off, your sick days? How many did you leave on the roster from last year? So these are huge controllables that will give you back time, energy, frequency, and vibrations into your life when you really look at paid time off, vacation days, or sick days. So we journal out all of our pain points in the role that's in you, that you're in. What fills up your day? What fills up your week? What fills up your month? What fills up your year? And what we do for leadership, we also do for your life trash can too. And then how do we personally affect the environment that we create at work? Are our employees excited to go to work on Sunday night, or are they dreading the Monday blues? So is that because of the environment you create, or is that the environment that you are walking into? How do we change that so your employees are excited to come to work every single Sunday night when they're thinking about what is their week ahead? And then also, lastly, our gets. What are we grateful for in leadership? What parts of your job do you love that you're so grateful for? The people that you connect with, the company that you work for, the money you make. What are the gratitude boomerangs that you're finding in leadership? And then also, what is that? 3 things you're grateful for in leadership and in life. So paid time off that we talked about it. This is your 5th controllable. So people, product, environment, yourself, and PTO. So paid time off. This is really so vital and so important. And if I could go back, so a lot of this that I'm sharing with you too is the things that worked for me in my life. But if I could go back and do it all again, I would ensure that I took every minute and day of my PTO. I would leave weeks out on the table because I didn't feel like I could leave the job, that no one could do the job without me. Well, I didn't have the systems fully in place for leadership and have a balance between the two. And I like millions of Americans are leaving this money out there and these days off. So PTO gives employees the chance to take a break from work and avoid burnout. Not taking time off will negatively affect the performance, the morale, and the environment of your company. PTO raises the morale and improves wellness, performance, retention, and the positive culture. It improves productivity and creativity. Annually, over 765 million vacation days go unused just in America. And I looked to see if I could find this globally to see what this is. But 236 million of those 765 went completely forfeited, given back to corporate America. So $65.5 billion was left on the table because you couldn't take your time off, didn't feel like you could leave, didn't feel supported by your leadership levels to actually take the time off, that we left $65.5 billion on the table that we could have used and put back into our economies and to improve our lives. So I really, really encourage you to take this assessment and really look at what do you have left this year for PTO, paid time off or vacation days, and sick days. And maybe it's a mental health day. Maybe it's a forgiveness day that you take once a month. If you know that you just cannot find a time, it doesn't mean you have to go on vacation. You just have to leave your work behind so you can expand, grow, and to build on your vibration and frequency for self. Spending time with family, just as a recharge, allowing yourselves to sleep in, whether you are able to travel or just maybe it's a staycation with your family. Maybe you're taking the time off for continued learning. You want to expand conscious leadership, right? You want to come to you want to attend our course and it's at a time frame that doesn't work for you. Maybe you can spend your PTO or time off on those extended learning opportunities. Maybe it's just about connection or just going to a coffee shop or trying out a new restaurant, something that gets you out of the constant rat race and the current cycle that you're in. Spending time in nature, going for a hike or just a walk or hugging a tree, and then also having fun, things that make you laugh, things that inspire you, things that bring you closer together with the ones that you love and the world and the community and environment that you live in. It is so important that we also know that 28 million employees don't even get vacation time or PTO. And if you are one of those, how do we schedule out your time to be so effective and so meticulous that you are carving out those moments? If it's not available to you in this now job, maybe as we move into conscious leadership, companies will see the importance of it. They will add it, or they will find you a new job that fits your values and your core values that offer PTO. So there is so much that we could go into this, but this is one of those. Don't give it back, because it is really taking away your joy when you leave that on the table. So it's June. Do I have it scheduled? If I haven't used it yet, or if I've already used it, yay to you. Teach us how. Drop it into the comments. How do you schedule your PTO? Did you leave PTO on the table for last year that we can't get back? Some companies pay it out, but many companies do not. You use it or you lose it. And now between the end of the year, what's your busiest time of your business? When do you know you need to be face forward? But what are those down moments that you could schedule in and put it on the calendar so it gives your highest self and your inner child something to look forward to? So how do we schedule? So scheduling upcycling this is how it has worked for me and my clients. So, and I do this in leadership and in life, and you can kind of work them and weave them within your forgiveness frequency to really work together. But on Mondays for business is a day of reflecting. It's regrouping. It's reconnecting. It's reviewing results from the week before, and then it's setting the intentions to move forward. So Mondays are already kind of a rat race sometimes. And for those who are not excited to be at work, if you're one of them, it can even be a lower vibration. So how do we influence our Mondays, knowing that this today is really going to be about reflecting over the last week, regrouping, reconnecting, reviewing results, and setting our intentions. Tuesdays are trash can truth days, where we schedule to dig. So we might be one Tuesday, we are scheduling to dig into people because we've had a lot of turnover. Well, maybe you've had a lot of turnover. Have you called any of those employees who left and asked them, thanked them for the time that they were with you, and just asked them, I see that you left the company. Is there any information that I can learn or gain from you about your stay, your time here? And why did you leave? And you may find it was they were going back to school, or they were moving, or they got a better job that was in their field of passion. Or you may find that, well, the manager that I worked for, they sucked. Or I've been with your company for 5 months and you've never once said hi to me. Like, you're going to receive the honest answers, but you have to be prepared for them, to be open to receive them. But if you're having revenue or retention issues, maybe one dig is going to be in people. Maybe you're looking at your business and you had a lower sales from last week, and you're looking at product and you see a ton of, you don't have enough of it. So who do you need to call? You are getting a ton of it return. Why? Or you have new product that's not selling. What more information, product knowledge can we give out to our teams to learn more about it? And it could be as simple as gathering the team and be like, okay, so tell me what you know about this product. Okay, who has sold it? How well did you sell it? What was the selling points that you used? And you just kind of feed off of each other, and then everyone feels excitement towards that product or service they're selling. Or environment. You came in on Monday and you had a ton of customer service issues, and you have a list of customers that are upset and need to be called back. Okay, well, why? Like, that is one in itself. That is scheduling out time to set yourself in a mental capacity, in a physical heart capacity, in a frequency of universal energy to call those customers back and really be open to receive their feedback and really work with them and engage with them to find out, was it a person they had an issue with? Was it the product they had an issue with? Or was it the environment of your store or place of business? Wednesdays, if you work in a retail environment, that's usually your days off. Usually you're working Monday, Tuesday, you take Wednesday off, and then you're there for the busiest days. So Wednesdays are really a day, whether you're at work or it's a day off, it's a weightless Wednesday. So you sit in the highest vibrations you can achieve. That is just, if you're working, you're walking the store with gratitude. You are giving out gratitude and compliments. You are connecting with people with attaboys, and you're just doing whatever you can do to raise the vibration of everyone you come in contact with that day. You are present in the moment. You relieve the reports on your desk. You walk your store, you walk your business. You just get out there, you be visible. And in those conversations that you have with people, and you're just kind of like rainbow dust. You're just kind of leaving your rainbow dust wherever you go and raising the vibration of your employees. These are great days if you're going to do like a coffee day or for your employees, or donuts, or you're just, extended lunch break, whatever that motivation for you and your employees are. Wednesdays are the best day of the week to really put that out there. And then you take Wednesdays as also an observation day. So if you on Tuesday had an issue with a department or a manager or a person or a product, Wednesday is an opportunity, if you're working, to just observe the environment of that department, observe the environment of that person, their energy levels, and see where you can effectively make change for them. And then find a moment to really sit in the gratitude and the mindfulness. So a mindful moment within the middle of your store or business, within your office, wherever you need to go, you just sit in that moment and be grateful for everyone around you, the business that you have, the growth and expansion that you've had. Maybe you're just starting out. Look at how far you've come. Just really give yourself that pat on the back, that whatever you need to raise your vibration. So you walk into the rest of the week, which is usually the busiest parts of the week, just fully revved up. And if you're not working, same thing goes. This is Weightless Wednesday. You dance on your pillow, you go out in nature, you sing at the top of your lungs, you put music on to enhance your environment. Maybe you're making your favorite dish for dinner. You're getting your hands dirty with the kids. It's anything and everything is possible on Weightless Wednesdays. And your focus is raising your vibration. And you might have moments that you drop below the line. Okay, that's okay. We don't stay there. We thank that moment for coming through. We thank for the opportunity that we're going to have to upcycle it at a different time. And we go back into focus of presence and fun, and just let your inner child come out, get creative, get messy, just have fun, eat what brings you joy. Just whatever that is, make Wednesdays that day for you. And Wednesdays love yellow. So like our slide, it is all about fun. It's about being that ray of sunshine in your life, in leadership and in life. And Thursdays, we're back to trash can truths. So this is where you can't do it all, right? You can't get and focus on every area because that just leaves you scattered. So Monday, maybe it was people and you had to have Tuesday, it was your trash can truths and you had to have a tough conversation with the department manager based on results or whatever was happening. That was scheduled into that day. Maybe Thursday, so far this week, you've had product issues or other issues. So you're scheduling out a time in that day where you can first ask for universal assistance and help from your guides to bring them into the energy of whatever you're moving forward with, if it's calling customers, if it's having a tough conversation, if it's digging into people and retention, if it's touching base with merchant teams or service vendors, whatever that is, know that you have that scheduled within your day somewhere. So we know that Tuesdays and Thursdays are great opportunities if you have to do customer touch bases. It's not first thing on Monday where you're kind of getting the reins back. It's not Friday where it's super busy. Thursdays and Tuesdays are great opportunities. So let's say on Wednesday, a tough, huge customer issue comes up and it's not something that you have the mental, physical capacity to deal with at that moment. Well, we know that when customers sit on something, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. All you have to do in those moments is call the customer and schedule a time to speak with them on Tuesday or Thursday. So I would like to give you my full opportunity. And I'm so sorry that this situation happened in our store. And if you feel like it's bigger than dealing with it in the now moment, ask them, could we meet tomorrow? Is there a good time in your day that we can meet and really discuss this? I would like to get with you and hear your thoughts on it. And when you schedule the time, you bring in your universal energy and you call that customer, you are open to let them be part of the solution versus ranting about the problem. But by calling them, you diffuse the situation. They will know that you're here and that you want to listen to them and you value their time and you're scheduling a time for you guys to talk. And then when you get to your trash can truth day, you've already scheduled out that moment so you won't have any interference. You called in your universal guides into your forgiveness frequency to help you, to put you in your center so that you are open to have this conversation with this customer. And you use them as a learning opportunity, not only for you, but you also include them in the solution. Invite them back to see if anything's changed. Invite them back to give you more feedback. And you've now really built a customer for life because they feel valued, they feel heard, they feel seen by you. And they're now a part of your solution versus giving you more problems. So that is a great opportunity. And you may have multiple customers on that day. Try to get them as much as you can blocked into the time where you're present and focused, and you've called in your universal energy to help you and assist you. And then when you're done with those trash can moments, you actually go back to the clearing and cleansing. Remove all energy that's not mine and give it back to source. Remove, clear, cleanse, and then call your energy back unto you. And that allows you to leave those situations within their trash cans in their appropriate times. And you'll have already taken notes of when you're going to move forward with action steps with whatever you were given or gifted during those conversations. And then Friday is another kind of focusing on the environment, raise the frequency, raise the vibration. I would have these morning rallies where I would be kooky and funny, and I would bring all of my energy that I could bring. I would pull all of my employees together before the day started or the store opened. We would have music. We did the electric slide, just anything and everything we could do to make it fun. We celebrated the wins from the day before, any great customer service letters. We brought those forward. We just made the day about fun and creative connection. I would run contests on that day. Just kind of like your Wednesday, you're bringing your A game, and it comes to your energy and your frequency, and you just make it fun. Saturday is again about being present, connecting, and engaging. So you are engaging with your employees, you're engaging with if you work on Saturdays, engaging with your customer. You are just kind of there in the environment. You are part of the business flow that's happening. There really should not be anything taking you off of your sales floors or off of your business floors on Saturday if you're working on Saturday. And then Sunday, it's like every other day. Can you see the flow? And then Sunday is all about relaxing, letting go, trusting and surrendering, releasing and receiving. So any work we've done in the trash cans that week, we kind of just need to release it and let it go. And we know we've done the work. It'll work itself out. We have systems in place, and we'll come back to it in scheduled times next week if something else arises. And by putting yourself in this kind of upcycling schedule, you lose that rat race of all of these things piling on your to-do list. And you can also delegate. It's a great opportunity for delegation too. And you'll learn that because your employees want to feel a part of something, and they do want that delegation as long as you are also doing the work. You're not just delegating everything, just if that makes sense. So when we talk about our upcycling program, so the 8-week program that we go through, the 4 weeks of leadership and the 4 weeks of digging in your trash can of life, this is just really the breakdown of those 8 weeks. The first 4 weeks is really all about leadership. I haven't quite decided if I'll do leadership 2 weeks in, or like leadership life, or just stay with one or the other, because what's happening in one affects the other and vice versa. So we're working all the kinks and the details for that. This was usually an 8-week course just on life, and then it would spill over into leadership, and then we would add a few more weeks for leadership. So this is really kind of merging the two and giving you what's needed for the co-creation, the co-creating the conscious leadership rise up. So that's kind of where our focus is set to be. One of the other aspects of this is building your boat. So this was one of the things that I was horrible at, is really building a boat of having conscious leaders around me that support me, whether that's mentors, others in my field, but maybe not in my company. It might be other mentors within your company, but it's really making sure that everyone in your boat is rowing for you, that they're a cheerleader for you. They're championing your success. You receive a lot of conscious connection with them. They are too on a conscious journey. So you really want to look at building your boat. My daughter was in a competitive rower for 3 years. And when you first start and you know nothing about rowing or crew, you are placed in a boat of 9 people and you just you have to figure it out, or your boat will flip over. So this is where we're all starting this conscious leadership, co-creation and rise up. It's filling your boat. So maybe your boat will be a 4-person boat because that's what you found. But in the end, hopefully it's building enough of support and community around you of others that are doing the work as well, that you're going to have a 9-person boat, and you're going to have a cheerleader, a mentor, a powerhouse, one that's really good. Maybe they have good fields of marketing, or maybe it's a spiritual connection that you really connect with them consciously. They don't all have to be a conscious leader in the business world. They are leading consciously within their own lives. So think about who's in your boat right now. Or if you don't have a boat, who would you put in your boat, and really start building that community so you guys are all rowing towards the same goal. And for me, it was because leadership was lonely for me. I loved what I did. I loved the people and the position and the people I worked with. But as a leader, I didn't have a boat. I didn't have others. I had a few mentors, but my peers were a lot older than me. And whether it was my own personal insecurities that I wouldn't feel like I could reach out to them, or it was a very competitive environment. And I worked for a company that had an inverted pyramid already. That's why this has been so resonating with me. The shift that's happening is because I've already done this at a higher level, heart-centered, service-focused, inverted pyramid in the job that I did. But I felt like I put those boundaries up in my own insecurities, that I made myself a lone wolf, and leadership was lonely for me. And so in the end, when I went and searched for joy, I was okay, because I know I needed going forward in the new future is to be surrounded by a community and to really build a boat. Whew. So we have accomplished a lot in this masterclass. We've learned how to clear our energy. We have tapped into your forgiveness frequency and ignited that. We've talked out the trash and what it takes to talk out the trash and to build your bin. We've controlled, how do we control the controllables of the 5 things: people, product, environment, self, and paid time off. So making sure that we're scheduling that time in. How to schedule time to dig in your trash can, how to take your time off, how to raise your vibration, and how ultimately to sit within the frequency of gratitude. Because gratitude, love, and authenticity are the highest frequencies. Joy is up there too. That if you want to move your frequency and expand it really fast, find ways to sit in gratitude, be authentic, sit in love, and be love, and find joy in all that you do. So resources that I really super encourage everyone to connect with is to get involved. This co-creation of conscious leadership rise up, this is not going away, and you will start to hear it in all aspects of your life. This is a cosmic, revolutionary shift that is evolving us and placing us into the highest timeline and highest frequency for our collective ascension onto the new earth. And so this isn't going to go away. This is us being partners in it. So get involved. Join conscious leadership communities on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, and wherever your communities arise, be a part of them. There are books. The two that I mentioned were the 15 Commitments to Conscious Leadership by Jim Dethmer, Diane Chaplin, and Haley Klemp. They also have podcasts on Spotify of a lot of conscious leadership podcasts that I've listened to a few. Conversations with God by Neil Donald Welsh. That is another one that keeps popping up in podcasts and other conscious leadership classes that I have been so humbled and fortunate to kind of get in my fast track part of it. And then sign up for anything free when it comes to conscious leadership. I'm all about free learning and free growth. So and anyone who's standing in service to do that, I sit within that. I love to sit within that energy. So signing up, Humanities Team by Steve Farrell. He has a community on Facebook, but he also humanitiesteam.com. I don't know the full thing, but he's currently right now offering a 6 to 8 week conscious leadership course using the Conversations with God as their guide. The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. They also have a course that pretty sure it's a paid course, but their podcasts give you a lot of the information that's needed. And then Conscious Leaders Women. There's a women's group by Danielle Hoffman that just hosted a conscious leadership summit for 5 days where all of these women within the conscious leadership came. And so now that the information's been brought to light, you will start to see those connections pop up anywhere. Sit within the frequency and energy of it to see if it's the right for you. And if it's, I really encourage you, if it's free, just to dip your toes in it and take what resonates, like this course here, take what resonates with you and flow through the rest. But there is a ton that's coming out. There's only about a handful of groups to join on LinkedIn and Facebook. I foresee those growing very quickly. And you can also join the Forgiveness Frequency group on Facebook that will be expanding it as well. So ways that you can connect with me. I'm on Facebook, the Forgiveness Frequency, the Healing in Color. There's a community there. Speak Up in Color is where we teach children. So we will be adding some of that back here very, very soon. But we have over 200 episodes with children, about 60 with a little girl fighting cancer in the UK. Her name is Florentina. And we have been with her raising her spirits throughout her cancer journey since 2021. And Florentina is on her second relapse of neuroblastoma cancer. And so just this weekend, enough money has been raised. We're still in the process of raising more, but Speak Up in Color and the Forgiveness Frequency has been assisting Florentina with coloring chronic pain, with coloring her emotions, teaching her how to speak up throughout her cancer journeys to the doctors. And she was just flown to Rome for a trial CAR T-cell retransplant. So she was there a few months ago and in April to have her T-cells removed, and then they build them, make them like superpower. And now she's back in Rome for the next few months to have them all retransplanted back in her. And this is really her last chance that's out there in the medical community to hopefully end this cancer once and for all, and the relapse once and for all. So she's undergone more chemo. She's lost all her hair again, but Speak Up in Color has been there with her to raise her spirits in and out of the hospital. There's about 60 to 70 story times with her. We're on Instagram with her as well. And then we have 140 children in our Children of Zoo in Zambia and Uganda that live in orphanages that we have been doing live Saturday schools with them. So between the two, there's over 200 story times with children that you can connect with. LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, podcast. We are in service to the divine. And so we're sent wherever we are meant to go. And you can book a free 30-minute powwow with me today if you would like to learn more. The forgiveness frequency, the universal co-creators. So everything I do is in service to the collective. These are opportunities for you to get involved and to also give back at the same time. So 100% of the proceeds of all services that I provide go directly to the children to build a school of color in Zambia. So if you would like to join our 8-week course, it's $444 US. That breaks down to one personal session powwow with me, in addition to the 80-minute masterclasses or courses that we have for those 8 weeks to dig in your trash can of leadership and life. You can have a personal powwow, which would be Akashic Reiki healing. We go through your Healy scan, and Healy is a universal quantum frequency scanner that has been in my life since 2021, and it has been just leaps and bounds, has helped in so many ways of me. It scans your aura, your 8 feet, and it brings forth any emotions that you have. So being disassociated from my emotions, I couldn't even tell you what they were when we first started forgiveness. Bringing in the Healy allowed me to have the scan of my emotional fields, bringing forth all of the emotions that are currently being felt in my field in this moment. And then it does the work for me in a sense. It brings it to light so I know what they are, but then it also assists me in expelling and really working through those emotions. So if you are looking to learn a little bit more about your emotions, or you're struggling yourself of really naming them, this will bring in emotions that are fully running in your quantum field of 8 feet for you to utilize. It breaks down your auras. It breaks down your chakra systems to show you where your energy is being depleted. It's just so freaking cool. And I did the investment right when it first hit the US. I had been waiting for it. I had seen it in Germany. It's now in Europe. So the Healy is just, it's kind of expanding everywhere. There's over 300 programs within this little tiny smart wearable that I'm wearing now. And it can do animal, plants, organizations, businesses. So we've run it in so many, it's helped so many of all the hearts that I assist as well. And then we also offer individual mentoring sessions, and corporate speaking opportunities are available. So every donation that you make will go straightly, if you would like to sign up for our future classes, will go straight to the GoFundMe for the children. And this will be building out a school of color for 140 children in Africa. So if you would like to join us, please connect with me in one shape or another. And I can link you to the GoFundMe for the children. And so you can, a part of co-creating is giving back. And that's why this has been so critical. And I just love being in this space of service from my pillow. My purpose to my pillow is to really give back to the children and be a voice for them. So 100% of the proceeds, Speak Up in Color and myself cover all of the money that GoFundMe takes, and then all of the transfer fees to send the money to the children. And we have already purchased the land based on doing this work and the service. We've already been able to purchase the land for one of our orphanages for them to build a forever home and a school of color on. And now the land is purchased. Now we're just building the wall that goes around it to secure everyone in before we can start actually building the foundations of the school of color. So you get to help be and co-create that, and you get to help color in hope for 140 children just while you are digging in your own trash can, building your own forgiveness frequency, and healing inside, outside, upside, and down. So you get universal karmic points, cosmic karmic points to go along with it, because you are also helping the children. And these are our kids. Our children are kids of zoo. So we have 100 at the Selecho Orphanage in Zambia, and we have 100 or almost 60, a little bit, 40 to 60. We just added a whole big group. So at the God's Grace orphanage in Uganda. And Speak Up in Color just paid our orphanage director is in the hospital in Uganda. So we just paid for his medical bills and what he needs to get himself healthy and back up and running. And just, again, just humbled and honored to get videos and stories from these kids and watch them learn how to read and to color their emotions and start wearing color. They all passed their exams and the teacher was like, what is going on? Your children are writing and reading and speaking in English where they weren't just a couple years ago. And lastly, I just want to thank you. Thank you for everyone who is here and for Jenny for joining me and staying with me throughout this masterclass. And thank you for helping through the beginning of that where we were a little lost in transition. So I just want to thank you guys for showing up today, for allowing me to expand and be a part of your co-creation of the Conscious Leadership Rise Up and storing that intrinsic source energy in this universal playground. I am just so blessed and honored to be able to spend this time with you. I look forward to getting to know each of you. I look forward to our powwow sessions, and also for any of you who are joining this 8-week course of how to dig in your trash cans in leadership and life. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I will stay around just a few minutes if there's any questions. I did have some little takeaways. I would love to know, what are your biggest takeaways from today? What is really kind of sitting within your heart space that gets you more excited about being a conscious leader? What action steps are you going to apply that resonate within your life and your conscious leadership journey? And are you ready to rise up? Are you ready to join this evolutionary shift and this revolutionary expansion within conscious leadership and restoring the intrinsic source energy within the universal playground? Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming. I look forward to hosting and starting our 8-week courses and of doing leadership and life. And I will see you on the other side of this rainbow. Bye, everybody.